Amazing.
Okay. So there's a minute, and I'll start then with some recitation, and then we'll begin at 4:30 exact. Sobia, if you check the forum again, there are few more registrations, so please send out the link to them. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is Rafia Mudassir from the platform of Nurul Huda Education and our international page, Vision Edu Global. Today, we have our fellow value-based leadership specialist, Sadika from Lebanon. And I met Sadika on one of the sessions that the monthly sessions that we had, and she was introduced, and I connected to her after that. And I felt that she also is doing a very wonderful job. She's based in Dubai right now, and so I thought of inviting her also onto the leadership series, which we are doing, the women leadership series that we are doing. So over to Sadika to tell us about herself a bit more, and then she can begin her session. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafia. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. Yes, Rafia and I are specialists in value-based leadership. And this is how we met, through Global Priority Solutions. And a little bit about me. I'm a mother of 4. I'm a grandmother of 6, and the 7th is on the way. And I always like to start with the family introduction. I am a John Maxwell certified trainer, speaker, and coach. I'm a TEDx speaker. I am an NLP practitioner, a meta coach, and a bundle of few things, and also an author. But most importantly, I always like to say that I am a human being speaking. So a human being. Hello?
Please continue. I'm just trying to mute the mics of some people who are joining.
Don't worry, dear. So I'm a human being in the making, and this is a journey, a lifelong journey from the grip to the grave, in my opinion. And the most important thing is to grow that human being that God has created into the person or the gift that was sent here on earth in order to fulfill our purpose. So I'm still on that journey, and this is a lifelong journey. And Rafia, if you allow me, I would like to start my presentation.
I have made you the co-host, Sadika, you can share.
Yes, I will. And before starting, I would like to tell everybody that I have no problem whatsoever. If you want to interrupt me while presenting, go ahead. Please raise your hand, and you can ask any questions even when the session is ongoing. So I called my presentation for today the leadership dance. In your opinion, why the leadership dance? Or have you ever heard of the leadership dance? And I would like to hear from one person here on Zoom? Would like anyone to answer the
I believe that we use this word leadership dance in the sense of the different roles that the leader switches from situation to situation.
Thank you so much. This is one of the answers, and you will understand what the leadership dance is for me as Sadika, and how I, through my experience, how I got to understand what a leadership dance is. You see, there's a quote here: some wake up to an alarm, some wake up to a calling. As a child, I always woke up to an alarm. It was either the alarm for school, or sometimes it was, unfortunately, my parents fighting, which was an alarm that is very well known in our household because they were not on good terms. And at the time, I can say I was a battered child because I was used as a go-between between my father and a mother, and they tried to solve their issues through me. And this started when I was only four years old. And you know, when you are 4 and that tender and that innocent, you do not understand the words of the grown-ups. And when your mother asks you to go deliver a message, you would deliver it as she told you to deliver it, not in your own words. And the same with my father. When he replied to my mother's message, I had to take the words again, those adult words, and those, I can say, violent and harmful words back to my mother, and vice versa. This was my childhood, and it affected my personality. It affected Sadika, and I wasn't only broken physically, I was also broken emotionally and mentally as a child, and I became an introvert at the time. I couldn't share my pain with anyone because there was this hush-hush, this hush-hush politics in the house. This is taboo. Whatever happens in the house should stay in the house. And if you say anything, you'll be beaten, or you will regret it, or you will be punished. So I had no one to share my emotions with or share my thoughts with as a child. And this rendered me to become an introvert, and to become also, if you want, not only an introvert. I didn't have any self-esteem. I didn't have any value. I didn't have any worth. And at the beginning, my only resort was my doll. I would go into my closet, into my dark closet, lock myself up, and talk to my doll and say everything I feel, or share everything I feel with her. And this really rendered me a broken human, if you want, at the time. Slowly, and around the age of 8, I discovered books. And it was by mistake. When I was rummaging in my dad's library, I found a book for children. And this is how I started creating my world. I started creating Sadika's world. And I realized that there was something bigger than what was happening in my household. There was something larger than me that was waiting for me outside my household. And I found my world in those books. And I started, and here I had an alarm that came from within. I woke up at night to read secretly under the bed. I sometimes found some time away from my parents and from their fighting, and I would hide in the closet to read my book. So this is the first alarm that was born inside of me. And this alarm was ticking all the time. Sadika, you need to grow out of this household. You need to find this life that is waiting for you outside. But at first, as I told you, I found it in books. And slowly, slowly, I started valuing myself because I started having my own thinking. And I realized that I should really outgrow this stereotype that my parents uh, boxed me in. I was that go-between in the house to deliver those harmful messages, and I was this hush-hush person that couldn't speak with anyone, not any of my family or friends, or say anything. And slowly, slowly, I started finding my voice. I started finding my strength. And fast forward, I'm not going to go into more details. Fast forward, I had my beautiful family. And the people you see in those pictures are my daughter and my 3 sons. And this is when I really found my calling, or the first calling, if you want. I knew that my purpose is to raise human beings and not boys and girls. I didn't have a female and 3 males at home. I had 4 human beings. I had 4 godly gifts that were handed to me, and I needed to follow my calling and my God's calling in raising those 4 people into human beings. And this is how my mission started. And actually, I am so proud of them nowadays. The first calling, or the first, I'm going to go back to the first picture, to raise my kids as human beings, the first thing I did, and fortunately, I was introduced to community service at a very early age in Lebanon. You know, we had the civil war and it wasn't an easy life. And until now, things are still ongoing and harm is still ongoing in my country. So I found my calling, or an early calling, which was serving others through my Uncle George. And Uncle George is a priest, by the way, and he was the one who saved my soul in some way or another. And if you want to know more about Uncle George, you can listen to my TEDx talk and you will know the story. But he introduced me to service, and he taught me something, a philosophy that I still follow until now. He used to tell me, Sadika, when you hold God in your heart, the human he created reveals itself by serving others. And then, and only then, even your enemy becomes human. And this philosophy, I gave it to my children, or I raised my children along that philosophy. And at a very young age, once they turned 5, they would go with me to the slums of Lebanon to serve others. And this is how I raised selfless human beings. I raised 4 human beings who live a life of significance and not a life of success. What is the difference? A life of success revolves around me. Everything revolves around me. I want the money. I want to be under the spotlight. I want the cars. I want the houses. But living a life of success is about others, and it's about serving others. And this is when you find meaning. And this is where you find your self-respect. And this is where you find your worth, is by adding value to others, and those others will add value to you. So now my children are living their life. They have their purpose. They follow their calling. Why is it important to find our calling, or actually to find our why? And once I knew that my why is serving others, and just drawing a simple smile on the face of others, it made a huge difference. I totally became a different person. I was no longer the introvert. I was no longer the hush-hush person. I was no longer the voiceless woman. I was no longer the low self-esteem person or the worthless person. I gained my value when I knew my why, and it was by serving others. And as I said, when you find your why, you find your way. You're no longer lost. You know where you're heading. You know what you want to do. When you find your why, you find your will. You find that will that pushes you, that keeps you going, that gives you motivation, that gives you inspiration. And when you know your why, you also find your wings and you fly. And you fly, believe me, you fly way beyond the boxes that people put you within or society put you within. Because once we are born, we are boxed. We are put into different boxes, whether the religious box, whether the Lebanese box for me as my nationality, whether the gender box, you name it, the political box, you name it. If you don't find your wings, you cannot open the box and fly. And here in the picture, there's in the picture one of my students. And also when you find your why finds you. You don't have to look for it. When you find your purpose finds you. It comes to you. And on that day in the American hospital of Beirut, I was visiting a friend. And I don't know, you believe me or not, until now, I do not know how the head nurse, I changed the pic. Okay. Until now, I don't know how the head nurse knew that at the time I was an English teacher. She approached me and said, would you volunteer to be a teacher for one of our patients who lives in the ICU, in the children's ICU, in the intensive care unit? And immediately, without any hesitation, I was, of course, I would love to. And she led the way, and she led me to Abbas's bed. And the person you see in the picture is Abbas. Abbas was born, he's the twin brother of a sister, he has a sister, and they are twins. So he was born with club feet because of his position in the womb of his mother. At the age of 9 months, the doctors decided to operate in order to fix his feet. But the anesthetist, while inserting the anesthesia in his neck, broke his neck. And when he broke his neck, he became totally paralyzed. He cannot breathe on his own. He is on a machine. He cannot eat. He eats through the tubes that you see. He cannot move. He cannot do anything. And Abbas now, today, imagine, from the age of 9 months until today, Abbas is 20 years old. Abbas still lives in the ICU of the American hospital, University Hospital in Beirut. But because of his dancer and because of his mother, who is the dancer and who led the leadership dance, as I did with my children. And to explain a bit about the leadership dance, the leader dances in front of his followers in order to role model, in order to set the road, to set the path. Because children see, children do. If you keep on preaching, Children will never, ever do what you tell them. But if you do and you are the role model, they will just follow in your footsteps. So at some point, I led the dance in front of my children. And sometimes I had to retreat and dance next to them, side by side, in order to listen to their feelings, to their emotions, to their opinion, to their thoughts, and in order to share our thoughts and come up with better plans together. But now, as a dancer, I totally retreated into the background, and I'm dancing behind my children, observing what they are doing, observing what they are implementing. Abbas's mother was his dancer. Abbas couldn't go outside to see the world. She brought the world to him inside the ICU. The first thing she did is create a school within the ICU, and I was his English teacher alongside of his math teacher, of his science teacher, and so on and so forth. So the world was brought inside the ICU for Abbas. She gave him hope. She danced in front of him to show him how resilient a person can be, even though she was a traumatized mother, but she didn't show this. She showed him that she believed that one day God will find a purpose for Abbas. There is a purpose behind his situation. And she made him believe that there was a purpose for him and that there is hope by the Creator and that there is something that has been written for him before he was born. And when she listened to him and she danced side by side to Abbas, his only wish was to see the Mediterranean Sea. His doctor joined his mother and they danced together next to Abbas, and his doctor, after few years, created a breathing machine that lasted on the battery for 4 hours. And in 2019, immediately before lockdown and before Corona hit the world, his doctor was able to take Abbas on his bed with all his machinery, with the breathing machine that he created for him. They took him down from the hospital to the American University campus, all the way to the Mediterranean Sea to see the sea and the beach and fulfill his dream. Because his dancer was dancing in front of him, giving him hope, giving him meaning to his life, giving him value, giving him self-esteem. And now Abbas's mother is still ongoing with her dance. She is always visiting every single day, of course, with his father. For 20 years now, they have never, ever missed one day, except during Corona, because of lockdown. The parents had to stay with Abbas through Zoom or through a platform like exactly what we're doing today, because they cannot see him physically, just for his safety. So we are dancers, all of us. I'm not only talking females, even males. We are all dancers. We should set the path for our children, not by preaching, not by lecturing. We should be doing things. For the leader walks the walk, walks the talk, and he is or she is the first one to implement things for others to follow in their steps. And this is what adds value to our life. This is what adds value to us as well. And I want you to reflect very carefully on this phrase here. Purpose precedes existence. Purpose precedes existence. That means God has created our purpose before He created us. He created me for something. He created me to fulfill something. So my gifts are inside of me. The seeds are within me. The only thing I need to do is water those seeds. But unfortunately, once we are born into a certain family, into a certain country, into a certain place, a region, you name it, whatever, those seeds are not watered. Those seeds are put on the side because, first of all, I have to be the person my father wants me to be, or the person my mother wants me to be, or the human my society wants me to be, or the student my teacher wants me to be. So all the focus goes somewhere else. It goes to what other people wants me to be, and it's never about me, about what I want to be or what God created me for. I'll give you another example. You have some students that are talented in sciences and some others that are talented in arts. So what happens in the school? The first thing, when a mother or a father or the family comes to school to talk to the teacher, they would say, your son or your daughter are weak in math. The focus goes on the weakness. No one focuses on the strength. And we start paying not only for the school, we start paying for extra tutorials, we start paying for extra activities, for whatever, to help our child understand math. But actually, our child will never understand math because this is not his purpose, because he was not created or she was not created to understand math. Therefore, and this is why one of the reasons we lose self-esteem and we lose value, because the focus of people and everybody around us is on the weakness. And when the focus is on the weakness, what happens to you? What happens to you? You just feel worthless. I'm not enough. I can't do it. Because this is where the focus is. But if I focus on my children's strength and I start developing this strength, what happens? I immediately elevate the value of my children. I immediately elevate their self-esteem and their self-worth because I show them and I pinpoint to them where their strength is. And there is something now I remember John Maxwell always tells us as his team, that if your children are A students, don't be happy because your children are learning nothing. Because other students or other classmates are coming to them to ask them questions, but where is their learning happening? You should remove them and put them somewhere where they should be, they feel C students, for them to learn and for them to grow. So the focus, first of all, should be on our strength and also should be on the learning. How can I develop? How can I grow as a human being? How can I add to my knowledge? How can I develop on all levels? Physical growth happens naturally, but our personal growth doesn't happen naturally. It has to be intentional. We have to have the intention to grow and develop whatever skills or seeds that God has planted within us. Please, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask while I am going through what I'm going through. Okay, so, and also what add value to us, or what add values to the human being, is that we have to know that everyone has the potential to find and fulfill his or her purpose. We are created, we are unique. I mean, God has created each one of us to be unique, to stand out, because one of the purposes of creation is to complete this beautiful tapestry that God has created, this beautiful tapestry of humanity. It's just like a puzzle. I mean, Rafia and I come together to complete each other and not to compete with each other. This competition mode, they put us, I mean, we are raised to compete from the beginning, because our parents starts comparing. Look at your friend, she's got a 90 on math, you've got a 70 on math. Look at, I don't know, your cousin. Look at that person, look at this person. No, this is not the purpose of life. It's not about comparison or competition. It's about completion. It's about finding our uniqueness and coming together. And as Rumi said, I saw someone in the comments mentioned Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi, as he says, I don't know the quote perfectly, but the meaning is that truth is a mirror, and it was in the hands of God, and it fell and it broke. And each one of us got a piece of that mirror, and we thought that we owned the truth. Our purpose is to put that mirror back together, to have the truth, to have the universal truth. And this is why it's about completion. And something also very important, I can never discover my purpose or discover my potential if my focus is on the past or on the future. Because both of them, as you see in this quote here, and I love this quote, by the way, you cannot suffer the past or future because they do not exist. What you are suffering is your memory and your imagination. Imagine Sadika now still living in the trauma and the pain of her childhood. What kind of person you would have found now through your Zoom screen? If I'm still living in the past, I wouldn't be Sadika of the now. I wouldn't be the valued human being you see in front of you. I wouldn't be the respected person you see in front of you. Or I wouldn't be the knowledgeable or the developed human that you see in front of you. And if I keep my focus on the future and not the present, I will just be dwelling into something that doesn't exist yet. Fine, I have plans. Fine, I have goals. Fine, I know what I should be doing in 2 years or 3 years, but this is not my focus. Or else it will become overthinking, or it becomes, and this overthinking will turn into worry. And I would like to pinpoint something very important. We are the people of Islam. And what does Islam mean? It means surrender, complete surrender. I'm not worried about the tomorrow. I'm not worried about the next hour, but I know what I should be doing. But the worry, I'm not worried. I'm just surrendering completely to my Creator, and things will fall into place because He knows what I want. He knows what what I am aspiring for. He knows my potential. He knows my purpose. And through me, He will work, and He will do His magical work through me. He will help me fulfill my purpose and he will breathe through me. So the focus should be on today. The focus should be on your purpose. The focus should be on the gift God has already given you before you were born. The focus should be on those seeds that God has planted within you. Start watering these seeds, because the more you water them, the more they grow, the more your self-esteem becomes higher, the more your self-worth, the more you value yourself. And believe me, you will discover very soon that we are all humans. There are no females and no males here. We have different roles. That is very true. And I do not believe in equality. I believe in equity, but not equality. We are equal in respect, but we are not equal in the jobs or the functions or the roles that we were given. We are made differently. Biologically, we are different. Each one of us has a role to fulfill. Even men, even all females, I mean, even between the genders themselves, if I want to talk all females, we're not equal. We are equal, I repeat, in respect, in our humanity. But I cannot do what Rafia is doing. I cannot do what any of you here is doing. And same thing for the males. You know why? Because God created us as such. He wants us to complete each other. He wants the puzzle to come together. If I can be in Rafia's shoes, and I can be in Fatima's shoes, and I can be in every female's shoes, why create so many? And same thing when it comes to the male. We need each other. We need each other because each one of us has a gift. Each one of us has something unique, and we need to bring this uniqueness to the table to complete the puzzle, to complete the beautiful tapestry of humanity that God has created. Now, I would really like you to reflect on that. If you could do one thing for the rest of your life, and I would like to hear someone answer this question. If you could do one thing for the rest of your life, even if you never got paid for it, what would you do? These steps here, or these questions here, will help you find your purpose. Can someone answer to this question, please?
Anyone, please, you can unmute and talk. I answered her first question, so I'd like someone else to take a turn.
I have already asked one question. And ma'am, you have answered. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome, dear.
But Sadika is asking that what is the one thing that you think you could do and that people seek in you?
Love. If we will give love, we will get the love. Is it right?
Amazing. Amazing. Yes.
For me, people come to take advice, and they look forward to mentoring from me.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. For me, the answer would be like people come to me for their health conditions. Help. They ask for help when it comes to their food. Like most of the times, I face patients who need specific type of food, and
yes, I lost you.
This is Tuba. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you. Yes.
I'm saying most of the times people come to me for their health issues. Like mostly they ask for the food, healthy food.
Yes.
Right, something which they are unable to make by themselves, and their doctors ask them to have such food and they're not able to make that for any reasons. So I cook for them most of the times.
This is amazing. You see, I can't do what you do. And this is how you know that you are needed. And this is a basic human feeling, if you want, or need. And this is what gives us value. And I repeat, there is a thin line between a life of success and a life of significance. A life of success is centered around me, around the individual, while a life of success is centered around the others and how I can serve others and how I can be of value to others. And of course, this would be an added value to myself as well. Okay, so these kind of questions, if you would like to take a screenshot of this template, you can think about those and think about them later on and see how you can answer them, because it helps a lot in finding one's purpose. And by the way, our calling, it always matches who we are. Because as I said, purpose precedes existence. We were created for this. So of course, God has given us the traits and the characteristics that fits that kind of calling. Imagine yourself, for example, like now I heard your friend earlier saying that she helps people cook their meals, all right? I wasn't born for that. It's not who I am. I don't have a passion for cooking. I cook. I do whatever I need to do for my family. I do the meals and that's it. But I don't have this passion for that. Okay? My passion is to speak. And my passion is also to speak for the voiceless. And God has given me skills, or has already planted those seeds of speaking within me before I was born. And our friend here, or my sister here that just shared about the cooking, he has already planted those seeds in her before she was born. So our calling fits exactly who we are. And this is how this combination, or this is why we feel comfortable. When the calling matches who we are, we feel comfortable. If you're doing something that you don't feel comfortable in, that means this is not your calling. That means you're doing something just for your basics, just to fulfill whatever you need to fulfill on daily basis, like having food on the table, supporting the family, supporting basic needs, whatever. But you're doing it because you need to do it. You have to do it, actually. So it's very important to discover what is this calling and how am I fulfilling that and doing this. And these questions here also can help you find that. What could you talk about for hours and hours? Who can answer that question? Azra? Yes.
Azraeli. So I am more connected with the question earlier, but I will come to this too. Now, since I've got a lot of time, so what I have started to do is I'm thinking that I'm becoming a human library. Like I give time to people when they share whatever they have in the heart, and I absorb it like a sponge without giving them any instruction, any guidelines, because they could think better for themselves. That is what I've been doing, and from a couple of months, and I feel that maybe, once they share, I am a little help to them, and just like a sponge.
Azra, this is amazing. Azra Ali, sorry. It's amazing. I can see that you have something of a coach inside of you. Because usually the coach is a listener and you are a listener, and many people need that. Many people need someone to listen to them. And by the way, listening is one of the values, and Rafia knows that. It's one of the for me, a major value, because nowadays the listening power has become less and less and less because of the iPhone, because of the screens. People have no patience anymore to listen to each other. They don't start conversations even. So this is becoming less. So Azra Ali, thank you for doing that. You see, you have your seeds within you. You are a good listener for people, and you should develop this. You should work on that. Tasneem, I see your hand is raised. By the way, anyone, you can ask
Everyone.
questions. Yes, Tasneem, sorry.
Yes, like I am a doctor, and I also love to listen, because there are nowadays there is a problem with, I can say, with the doctors. They are not listening patients. So whenever the patient came to me, I just only say, okay, just speak up, and whatever you want to say, just speak. And believe me, when the patient told me each and every tiny things, and I respond in each and everything. And when the patient came back and they said, I'm fine now. I even I don't want to give any medicine until that patient will reply me, I'm feeling better, matlab, like they are very comfortable after speaking up.
Yes. Thank you so much, Tasneem, for doing this. And I want everybody, before I move to the next slide, I want everybody to think about the last question here. What would you like to do that would live beyond you? Your calling is your legacy. It's what you leave beyond you. It's what people will remember you for. Okay, it's what your children will carry on after you pass away. It's what the future generations and your family will keep on telling stories about you because of that calling and that legacy that you have left. This question is very important, and it also will help you find your calling. And keep in mind, your calling is bigger than you. We grow into our calling, not the opposite. This is why we need to work on our personal growth. This is why we need to keep on developing ourselves day after day. And when I say development, or when I say growth, it just could be a tiny new word every single day. When you learn a new word every day, you are growing. Or if you read a page, or if you ask a question, by the way, the best way or the best learning tool for me is asking questions, especially elderly people, especially people that are experts in their fields, people that have more knowledge than I do. I love this kind of learning because it's so human. It creates this interaction and this warmth. It gives you energy because there's this human energy that uh, you are interacting with. So asking questions can develop you. If you ask one question per day to someone, it can add to your knowledge big time. So your calling is always bigger than you. This is why we should open all the boxes. We should get out of those boxes that family, society, community, you name it, put us into when we were first born. We were born free. I mean, we were born without a box. Unfortunately, we always, or people seek to stay in their comfort zone. They seek to stay where I mean, our parents have been raised a certain way, and they want to raise us the same way, and they do not break that pattern. So your calling is bigger. Try to break patterns, try to break stereotypes, and allow yourself to grow into that bigger calling. Also, your calling gives you purpose. What can purpose do to you? It's here on the screen. It will motivate you. This is passion. It will keep your priorities straight. And this is discipline, because you have a certain path to follow. If we don't have discipline, we can go right, we can go left, we can go up, we can go down, and we can lose our purpose. Purpose puts us on one path and we keep on following, and it has to be followed through discipline. And as human beings, you know, we can lose focus anytime. Purpose also develops our potential and it stretches us. It stretches us. It takes us out of the box. When we water those seeds, they grow into a plant. If we keep on watering them, it becomes a tree and we need a larger space. It stretches us. Purpose gives us power to live in the present, and this gives us awareness. Also, purpose leads us to progress, to growth, to develop. And also purpose develops consistency. If today, if for example, I'll take reading a book. If I train myself to read a page every single day, this becomes a habit, and this is consistency, and this will help in my growth as well. Also, again, significance. Purpose gives significance to our lives. We will have lots of examples all over the world of very, very rich people, sometimes billionaires and millionaires, committing suicide. Why do you think? Because they don't have significance in their life, because there's no meaning, because there is no purpose, because it was all about a life of success. It's about having 20 cars, having 4 houses, I don't know where, having millions of money. It was never about significance. Also, to help you find your calling, think about the following. What do I sing about? For me, times when I knew that my leadership was making a positive difference for people, this is my singing moment. What is your singing moment? Think about it. Also, what do I cry about? What breaks my heart? For me, I always wept when I saw bad leadership, especially in my country. How they are not leaders, unfortunately. They are the warlords of the civil war that have been ruling now for 40 years. They have abused people. They have abused the country. They stole our money. We woke up one day, we had nothing in the banks. Every single penny just disappeared. And this made a lot of people leave the country for the past 2 years, and one of them was myself. So this makes me cry. Also, what do I dream about? I dream about times when I can train leader that would make a significant impact on other people, because leaders give birth to leaders. The followers do not remain followers. If the followers remain followers, that means the leader on top is not a leader. The leader gives birth to other leaders. And something very important I would like to share with you, the word ego. Have you ever thought, what could the acronym ego stand for? Well, I'm going to tell you. Ego stands for edging God out. When you edge God out of your life, your pride takes over. And when your pride takes over, fear of not possessing something, you focus on doing. Anxiety it takes over your heart and your mind. You are burnt out. You always focus on the result, and you want to preserve yourself. It's me, me, me. While the calling is totally the opposite. The focus is on not expressing something, is not having a voice. The focus is on being. The focus needs, you need silence to survive and not anxiety to survive. It's fulfillment and not burnout. It's result, it's process and not result. It's impact on others and not preserving yourself. So watch out from ego, because ego drives you while your calling draws you. And these are leaders that I am happy to have given birth to, and they are still back home in Lebanon, making an impact and making a difference. And I thank God that has helped me find my calling at a very early stage so I can make a difference. And thank you so much for having me. And the floor is open for Q&A.
Thank you so very much, Sadika. That was a really wonderful session. And again, in fact, I just shared on Facebook also stating that you were actually echoing my thoughts. This is what I think you must have read today.
Yes.
On the divine feminine, I wrote, okay, what is feminine? There is a lot of debate on the word itself. Now, it seems that people understand it as a movement only, feminism. Whether, but it is not that. Feminine energy is very, very powerful, and one that can change the discourse of the whole humanity if you are sharing love, compassion, you're caring, and you are kind to people, and you are being human yourself. So humility is one of the values that we all should learn and practice in our daily lives. So
Thank
open
you,
to
ma'am.
everyone. If anyone has a question from Sadika, we have 2 to 3 minutes more. And then of course it's iftar time and the ladies have to get the
Yes.
food on the table. So 3 more minutes for questions.
Just now, I just want to say something. Actually, Sadika, I have heard Sadika. She is amazing. I have learned a lot. Thank you, ma'am, Rafia. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
You are welcome.
Although I have done so many teaching practices and courses, but this thing, whatever I have learned today, I'm really very much impressed. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Laila. I'm really humbled by your words, and thank you.
Misbah wants to say something. Ji, Misbah.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum. Firstly, thank you so much, Ms. Rafia, for the invite. And surprisingly, it's a very good session. Good to hear from Ms. Sadika. Actually, I just wanted to say that I think a lot of females would agree with me, especially those who have joined this session, that some of us have really identified our purpose, and we are also in the leadership positions. But once we recognize our purpose, we get so much overwhelmed that we, due to this passion, we pick up a lot of things, and even we get, overburdened. So I always try to create a balance between whatever my passion is, what I want to do, but sometimes it's like I'm unable to do it. So I just want to advise that what if a person identifies that what they actually want to do, and they reach at a certain point at time, like, and like I try to create more followers. I personally think that I'm a good leader because I've been into like I work for women, and this is something that comes from within me. It's my passion to help people. So sometimes I feel like that the situation is overwhelming and it's very difficult to say no. So I just want you to give a piece of advice that could be helpful for me and for all the ladies who are here.
Isma,
Thank you.
that is one good session on its own, how to say no. So we can plan that. And since I know you and your situations, I think I'll be able to answer you better. Ramsha has raised her hand since long. So let her listen to her question and then Sadika can respond because it's already 5:30.
Ms. Rafia, please add me also for that session. Know how to say no, please. Thank you.
Okay, Ji. Okay,
Hello.
Ramsha.
Yeah, hello. I just had a question. What if you know what's your calling, but then you're still in the struggling phase, and you see if there's something from your past that haunts you or pulls you back, so you know how to battle with that. You know what's your calling, but then you're still in the struggling phase, and what you are trying to achieve, you're still not there, and there are things from your past which pulls you back. So how to go about it then? This is what I need to ask.
Okay. So it's a close question to the first one as well. How do you say no? I'll try to link them both together. Listen, Ramsha, there's something very important. So, and this happened to all of us. Sometimes we need to do what we need to do what we have to do, okay? Because we need to survive at the end of the day. At the end of the day, we need the money, we need a certain job, we need a certain career at first, so we can start something, okay? Until we reach a place or a moment where we start doing what we want to do. Hang in there, hang in there. You start preparing for that. Nothing happens all of a sudden, immediately, but there is a journey. It's a process, and you have to trust the process. Wherever you are now, stay focused on that calling, stay focused on that purpose. And once you get there, God will get you there. And believe me, he works in mysterious ways, and he will, how do we say that? I'm going to use the word, he plots for it, and he will bring it to you. And now what you are doing is already what you should, you are already on that path of your calling. No matter what you're doing now, it's taking you there. It's leading you there. This is where you need to be now, at this moment, at this time. Don't think about the future. Remember, the future is not in your hands. It's not there yet. Don't worry about it. Don't fret about it. Plan for it and leave it to God. The rest will happen. And also, to answer the first question, how to say no when we cannot say no, start having a team. My first team were my children, by the way. And when I had lots of people to serve, lots of people to help, and it started with just helping with food, medicine, you know. And sometimes when I couldn't do it, I would ask one of my children to do it. And if it's not, and then we started having a group of friends coming and joining with their children. You know, we built a community, and when I couldn't do it, I just asked somebody else to do it, because we cannot do everything. This is, I remember, we are here to complete each other. I need Rafia in my life. I need Layla in my life. I need all of you in my life, or else we cannot do it. So start growing your team.
Thank you so much, Sadika. With this, we end, and it has been a wonderful, wonderful session. And I'm thankful to all those who joined and were a part of it, because then you understand that the theme that I'm carrying on my pages well, that it is more awareness for the women specifically, because women in Pakistan especially feel that they are not empowered, but we all are empowered. It's not just about women. We all as humans have been empowered, given a lot of talent, abilities, and Allah says in Surah Al-Ala that I give you opportunities to unfold them step by step. If you read the translation of Surah Al-Ala, this is what the message is of Allah himself, that I have blessed you with so much. So it's on you how you unfold that and you become a better person each day. So try focusing on getting better each day, becoming a better human, becoming a better person by working on yourself and your values. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for the opportunity. Love you all. Stay blessed and enjoy your iftar.
Allah Hafiz.